Hi there, it's Carlo the Common Magician. I've got something interesting to share with you today. This is entirely impromptu and unscripted in terms of topic here and discussion. I haven't prepared a specific trick for you, but I saw something recently just hit my social media feed as an ad that kind of inspired me to take the time to talk about this. It's not anything, I don't think there's probably nothing new that we ever discuss on this channel that I probably haven't already discussed at some point before. But this is an issue that I think can be treated much more as a utility rather than as a method. And this is the idea of automatic placement. So automatic placement meaning that there's something mathematical or situational about the handling of the cards where a procedure that looks innocent is actually placing something that is of interest where it needs to be. And more often than not, when we deal with automatic placement, we desire for the spectator to be the one to do it, that they're the ones that are actually placing the subject card or the card of interest where it needs to be so that it is in a known location that helps with the rest of the trick in terms of method. So I saw a thing on social media. It was Peter Turner, and he was selling a trick it's essentially a self-working kind of effect that's impromptu and with a shuffled deck of cards. And it's what they're suggesting on the ad is that it even fools magicians. And honestly, one of the things that does fool magicians is automatic placement. And I think it fools magicians best if it's used in a very simple, direct, early manner in the presentation. And then from there, because the card of interest is automatically placed, you can springboard off into a whole bunch of other misdirects that really confuse the procedure that got you to the automatic placement. So I just want to talk about this real quick. Now, what was curious about this advertisement for the trick is that, I watched it and I recognized it kind of right away, although I didn't understand the procedure. I had to watch it twice, obviously, right? And this is why these things work, is that with automatic placement, it can be hard to foresee what a procedure will accomplish. And once the procedure is completed, it is even harder to backtrack what has occurred to accomplish what was accomplished. And that's why these automatic placement procedures work. But what was really curious about this advertisement is that in the video, Turner does it two different ways, two different presentations of the trick. And in there, he's doing this for someone, and they say, well, how do you do it? Teach me. And he says, it's easy. It's self-working. It's the 21 card trick. And it's like right there, I don't understand why they let that little line in there in terms of selling the effect, because that is essentially what it is. If you understand. Now, the thing is that most people don't really understand the automatic placement principle of the 21 card trick. They just learn the procedure. And a lot of amateur magicians, I say that anybody that does a trick is a magician. That's like my feeling on this, right? It's like anybody who plays some music on, singing or on an instrument is a musician. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're a very experienced one. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a very good one. Okay. But, the amateur magician that learns the 21 card trick, they typically will learn it for its procedure without understanding its principle. In a lot of places where it is described in amateur magic books, it does not explain the principle and how it works. It merely explains the procedure. So it's kind of like learning algebra with a really bad algebra teacher, right? Where you learn a formulaic way to accomplish certain procedures without appreciating why it works the way it works, learning just on the formula. So let me talk real quickly about a few different ways that you can look at automatic placement, and then what you can do with it after the deed is done, right? After that placement has occurred, what kind of power it leaves you in to improvise, really. And I'm not a big one on improvisation and Magic. I prefer to really have complete, very complete bookended presentations worked out. And if I improvise, it's really about just bringing in a moment's notice whichever presentation I want to use. But here, with automatic placement as a utility, it is a good improvisational tool because really once you do the placement, the rest is just revelation. And there's all kinds of interesting improvisatory ways that you can accomplish revelation. So in this case, we'll use the example from the video without really getting into all the nuanced issues with that particular trick. I'm not selling that trick. That's not the goal here. You ask, I think one of the big issues here with automatic placement is creating, and this is the hard thing to do, is to create the illusion that the procedure is not specific, but rather that the procedure is random. Okay. Now, in the 21 card trick, which I can't remember, it depends on the version you see, where they say, make 3 even piles of, 7. That's extremely specific. And right from the beginning, ding, 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 this is a math operational effect. And I think most people just come to that conclusion immediately, subconsciously, whenever that first direction is given. Make 3 piles of 7. If you want to do automatic placement, try to avoid specific instructions and work to create the illusion of randomness. So in this case, I think on the way this one sets up the Turner one is make 2 piles of 2 even piles. Doesn't matter how many cards. The more cards, the more interesting this is. But you can use any number you want. And now off the bat, what's going on here is you're ending up with 2 options that are identical, and you have a mathematical symmetry. Okay, so that's really the goal. But the way that we got to that is by giving a very benign instruction, just make 2 even piles. You just deal out 2 even piles. Doesn't really matter how many cards are in it. And that's true. It doesn't matter how many cards are in the piles. What did matter is that word even. Make 2 even piles. Okay. Now, what you could be doing here, and there's a few ways to do it in the presentation of question. I think there's some counting that could potentially be going on later on. However, I would say if you're going to do this, do your counting now. What you just need to know is how many cards are in a pile. So it's like if you're counting cards when you're doing a poker game, right? You need to have, if it's a draw game and everyone needs to get 5 cards, right? 5 cards per hand. As a dealer, I would need to count out 5 times around. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're just counting how many times around does it go, right? So, for example, and you could do this with more than 2 piles. Obviously, you could, but just in this case, there's 2. And I think this will be good in terms of springboarding into where I like to be, which is the illusion of choice. I think that the illusion of choice and the use of equivoque can be very useful with automatic placement, and that's where we're going to take this. So, two even piles, and what I'm doing is I'm just counting how many cards are in a pile. Okay, so in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll say it's 9. Okay, and it doesn't matter how high it goes, you're just keeping track, you're doing a tally of how many cards are in the piles, and it's 9 times through the cycle. Okay, so we have 9 cards. Now the next thing is I would say, and this is probably after asking the spectator to shuffle the whole deck, so that's another way to increase the understanding of randomness over procedure. and absolutely over specificity of procedure. This is non-specific what we're doing here. So then I would say, why don't you go ahead and shuffle that pack over there. Say, now I don't want to touch the cards. Why don't you shuffle that packet over there, right? And I say, now you've made a choice. You made a choice when you shuffled the deck. You made a choice as to how many cards you're going to use. You made a choice again when you shuffled them and reordered them. There's no way I could know what's going on. You can make another choice here. Just pick one pile. Which pile do you want to use? And now I'm also setting up my shell of truth, what I call the shell of truth for the potential for equivocate down the road in the revelation. I'm giving them real honest choices. I'm literally saying, do this and make a choice. I'm not giving them any kind of nuanced choice. I'm just saying pick one. So they say they pick this one over here. And I say, great, why don't you just cut into the middle there, pick it up, and take a look at the card that you have, okay? And just hold it close to yourself. All right, very good. And then when they do that, you can do a number of different things. But what the goal is you want to imply that this card is going to be buried into the pile. This is the automatic placement. Ultimately, what we want them to do is place this card, which is now at the bottom of a stack that they picked up of an indeterminate number of cards, 4 in this case, and it is the Jack of Clubs. I'm going to get it automatically placed to the middle of the totality. Okay, so it'll be the 9th card down against the 9th card up, if that makes sense. So it won't be directly in the middle, but it will be paired, right? 9th card down. So what I want them to do is I say, great, go ahead and place this on top of the pile here. Now, you want to make this less specific, because why would they do this and then go here? What you can do is, as they do this, take a look, say great, I'm gonna mix these up here. Go ahead and take your cards, drop them down right on top of those. Go ahead and pick those up, give them a good mix, throw them on top. So what we're doing is we're creating the illusion of a mixed up situation, that they are further mixing the cards. But what we've actually done is we've made them place their card automatically in the cut at the bottom of a small pack, which we do not have them shuffle. They're holding it off on the side. We shuffle up the other packet, which is 9 cards. We have them drop their card on top of those 9 cards, which is an understood position. We have them shuffle the remaining few cards that they have, which is irrelevant. It's just merely the balance of cards that will sit on top of their card, which is at the bottom of their total packet. This is the automatic placement. So now we have a situation where 9 cards down is their card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we see the Jack of Clubs. I now know where the card is at. Okay, I now know where the card is at. Now, I can take this any number of directions. I could take control again. Rather than have them just do everything, I can really muddle this up even more. Now, one thing I want to try to do is probably get this into a more advantageous location, and I can be very sneaky about this. I might take the cards and say, now we'll make sure that everything is mixed perfectly. Now, because it's such a short stack, this is a really good time to do, a zero. If you're really worried about a zero shuffle, which you never should be, even with 2 decks, right? Nobody really sees what's going on. I've had this discussion here before. But when you have a very short stack, a zero shuffle is very, very, very deceptive. So I'm just going to zero, hold a break, take the bottom section off, zero again over with 1 cover card, and then give it a cut. And now what I've done is I've actually maintained the order of all the cards. It doesn't matter what kind of shuffle you do. Another possibility, and I might do this after something like a zero, is pick up the deck, and then I'm going to thumb off. This is at the 9th position now. I'm going to thumb off 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in an overhand. This is a presumed overhand shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. And then I'm going to throw on top. Now what this does is it leaves me where there's 1 indifferent card and then their card. Now I can do something like this. Again, this is part of the improvisatory tool chest, right? This is just another thing that I do in other card tricks, but would be welcome here. So just to recap, they shuffled the cards, they made a couple piles, they picked one, took a look, this got shuffled, they throw it on top of there, they shuffled this, throw it on top of there, and then I could thumb off, I could do some other kind of shuffle to maintain the stack, or I could just thumb off the 7, brings me to where I'm at. And now I can say it's mixed up. Now, hopefully it's not on the bottom. Not on the bottom? Is your card on the bottom? Good. Okay, good. So, and also, hopefully it's not on the top. Is it on the top? Good. What I'm doing is I show that it's not on top and I displace this card. When I return it, I put it on the bottom. Now I've got a situation where I've got a line of cards and I've just controlled their card to the top. Okay, so it's been shuffling. It's been random. They made a very fair choice, and now we're in this situation. Now I can just equivocate the sucker home, okay? And I'm thematically consistent. I'm thematically consistent because they're going to be making choices. So I now have it at the top. I know that the card's not at the bottom or the top, but I've actually just controlled it there. And I can do something like this, right? I can do my reduction kind of force here. I say, as I move my hand, go ahead and say stop. I say stop, I say right here, and I just eliminate all the cards south of the card of interest. Throw them off. I can now pick up the cards, run it through so that I'm actually putting the card to the bottom. Spread them out, say, let's do this again. As I move my hand, go ahead and say stop. They say stop right here. I get it down to just a couple of cards, and I know that their card is right here. I say, go ahead, slide one away. They slide away that one. I say, great. What was your card for the very first time? There it is, okay? And they made all of the decisions, every decision all along the way from a deck that they shuffled. The only time I put hands on was to displace their card to the top. And in doing so, part of my utility toolkit here was actually a demonstration that it wasn't in a known place. And by doing so, I actually put it there. So this is just a very neat little utility. Automatic placement, and you can automatically place cards in a lot of different ways by reverse counting. Reverse count is a really good, really easy hands-off kind of thing. So the way I like to do it is for one trick that I do, which is in any card, any number, is I have them cut into the deck about halfway, and then I say, go ahead and count the cards. Go ahead and deal them down and count them right here. And they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is 22. And I say, go ahead and turn that over and let's look at it. 8 of diamonds. 22nd card. Drop it right on there. And then I take the balance of the cards and I drop all these on top. What do I now know? I know that their card of interest is 22 from the bottom. This has been automatically placed. Now I can just manage this deck in such a way where I either keep it there or I shift it in some way to another known location. But I do know information. And the information was given to me in the open. 22 cards, 8 of diamonds. Seems shuffled. They just shuffled the deck before they did it. They were dealing cards, counting, right? But apparently mixing cards. But I do know where it's at this point. So the way the presentation goes for that trick is I would cut off about a third, have someone shuffle that. I cut off another third, which is going to have the card of interest inside of it. And then I give this third to somebody else. I have them shuffle their thirds, and then I run mine through. I just run it through end for end. So I'm keeping the order of cards. I'm just reversing the order of cards. And then when I get to this point, what I want to do is their cards are all mixed up. It doesn't matter what they've done over here. This was the top. I'm now going to place this on top of what was the top. And then I'm going to take what was the bottom and place this on the top of the whole thing. What I've done is I've just reversed the location of the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 is the 8 of diamonds. I've just put it back exactly where it was with the cooperation of the spectators, where it was originally in the deck. All I would need to do, if I need to do anything else, is I could throw one more slight on this. I could just do, a false table zipper wash, and then pick it up and do a false cut, This looks incredibly alarming to find. It would be incredibly alarming to find the 8 of diamonds at 22 from the top, but that's exactly where it is. Okay, so another automatic placement. Another way that you can use automatic placement is with key cards. So let's say that we have them cut the deck. Let's say we have them, shuffle first and then they cut the deck. Let's say that we have them pick up like we did before and they take a look. It's going to be Queen of Clubs. And then I pick up this stack and then I run it through, or I shuffle it overhand. But what I do is I get a glimpse of the bottom card. I thumb that one off and then shuffle everything on top of it. And now I just milk it and keep it on the top. I set this down. I say, go ahead and place your stack right on top of it. Queen of Clubs. I know the 4 of Hearts. So it's been automatically placed. I can have them shuffle this. Same kind of trick, but now I'm in a situation where I know the identity of their card as soon as I look at the spread from the bottom. Okay, I just know that I have to look for my key card, and then I see their card sitting on top of it right here. So you could use a key card principle in cooperation with some kind of automatic placement where they're putting their card procedurally next to something that you happen to know. Okay. Anyway, a lot of different ways to use automatic placement, and this is not even, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Automatic placement is a very, very deep and very, very wide subject matter, but I do consider it much more of a utility because automatic placement in and of itself need not be the entirety of a method. It can be just one little element on top of which you can apply all kinds of other methods, some of them just mentalist methods like equivoque, not even dealing with card handling at all. Just because there's been automatic placement, that now means that you know where it is at. And since you know where it is at, you can get into a whole other realm of techniques that are really not card related in order to do something pretty amazing. So, few thoughts on automatic placement. If there's any automatic placement principles that you like, go ahead and put them in the comments below, and maybe we can come back to this, make a little bit of a playlist on the subject matter. So good luck with that, and happy magicking.